I am the nation. I was born on July 4th, 1776, and the Declaration of Independence is my birth certificate. The bloodlines of the world run in my veins because I offered freedom to the oppressed. I am many things and many people. I am the nation. I'm 200 million living souls and the ghost of millions who have lived and died for me. I'm Nathan Hale and Paul Revere. I stood at Lexington and fired the shot heard round the world. I'm Washington, Jefferson, Patrick Henry. I'm John Paul Jones, the Green Mountain Boys, Davy Crockett. I'm Lee.
Coming to you from the DTOM Studios in the free state of Florida, sponsored by Maker's Mark Bourbon, this is Don't Tread on Merica. Alrighty, how's everybody doing out there today? It is Monday, May 11th, 2026. And I'm going to break it down for you guys real quick. A couple of things. Number one, make sure you follow the show on social media. DontTreadonMerica.com. I'm sorry. Don't Tread on America on Facebook, Instagram, True Social, and the Ticker Talker. And, of course, on the Twitter X Machine DTOM Podcast 1776. Also, make sure whatever podcast app you're listening to this on, you're following the show, you're subscribed, whatever that button there is, press it, hit it, go to it. While you go into things, hit the DTOM Store up, check it out. We got show merch, t-shirts, license plate frames, whiskey glasses, beer glasses, can koozies. I got all sorts of shit, guys. Go there. I don't take any money from there. Okay, everything you buy, proceeds go to Tunnels and Towers. So help me, help you, help them. Guys, the reason I'm talking really fast is because of this. It's Monday as I'm recording this. It's 1 o'clock. Okay? I need to do 2 shows today because I am going to be out of town working, and I have a lot of shit to say. I really want to do 3 shows. I just don't have the time. Depending on how work goes, maybe I'll squeeze in that 3rd show sometime this week. However, if you're following the show on social media, if you're following the show on whatever podcast app, you'll know when things are going to hit. So do that. Follow the show on Rumble. DontTreadonMericaTV. If you're not on social media, it's fine, I understand. What you can do there is you go to the website, DontTreadonMerica.com. From there, you can reach all of those things. And if you have anything you want to say to me, say it to my face. You can email me, DonQ at DontTreadonMerica.com. Right now, we're going to kick it off a little bit of Damn Yankees. Don't Tread on America version, courtesy of one Ted Theodore Nugent. Guys, I got a wild show for you today. I got a couple wild shows for you, actually. It's almost like I should just quit work. What do you think? Honey? You think no? Okay, that's not going to happen. Guys, we have a good show for you today. So I encourage you to stay tuned. We're going to piggyback off of the things we've been talking about with these new releases of these UFO, UAP files that the government has decided to throw upon us. So stay tuned. Sing along if you know the words. Patriots, truth warriors, and red pill survivors, welcome back to another episode of Don't Tread on Merica, the only podcast that refuses to kneel to the globalist ice wall, the lying media, or the gatekeepers who've been hiding the biggest containment operation in human history. Of course, I'm your host, Donq, coming to you live from the front lines of the information war on this Monday, May 11th. And today, brothers and sisters, we're going full throttle. I don't know how long this is going to go, but we're bringing you some unfiltered, no holds barred conspiracy fire. No corporate sponsors telling me what I can say. No fact checker bots. Just raw truth the way you deserve it, guys. And I really don't want to get into this next part. I'm going to let you listen to the music. We're going to get into the guitar solo, and then I'm going to break this all down for you. This episode's called The Firewall Thaw, Intra-Terrestrial Disclosure, Vanishing Gatekeepers, and the 2026 Unbiblical Apocalypse. Wrong button. Push the wrong button. Damn it, Don. Motherfucker. Stupid idiot. Oh, sorry. Still talking. Guys, if you've been riding with this show since day one, you already know we've been screaming this from the rooftops. Let me get this music just a touch louder, guys. Just a touch. Not that loud. I said a touch, not a handprint louder. There we go. Let me move you over here. All right. We've been screaming this from the rooftops before the government even pretended to come clean. Back in February of this year, I dropped the episode Project Anchor Exposed, the 2026 Gravity Apocalypse, warning you the entire globe model, gravity itself, was the ultimate psyop holding the ice wall containment in place. Then, just, 10 days ago, on May 1st, Episode 620, I did an episode, The Frozen Firewall Apocalypse, Ice Wall Realms, Vanishing Gatekeepers, Project Anchor's Gravity Psyop, and Blue Star's Intra-Terrestrial Blackout. Blackout. Got the hiccups. I laid it all out. The hidden realms beyond the ice wall. The Watchers treating us like zoo animals. The scientists in brass dropping like flies. And Blue Star's Blackout op finally cracking. Then what happens? 48 hours later, the Department of War dumps 162 never before seen. See, when I talk too fast, I put words together, guys, so stick with me. UAP files on war.gov/UFO. Kash Patel is out here chanting maximum transparency under Trump. Pastors are getting pulled into secret huddles about unbiblical revelations that could torch Genesis. And the gatekeepers? Still vanishing. Coincidence? Hell no. This is the firewall thawing in real time. And we're not dismissing a single damn thing just because the suits say it's not confirmed. Not confirmed means they're still hiding the motherlode. And today, we're exposing every angle, every theory, every cover-up. We're talking interterrestrial beings operating from inside the earth and beyond the ice wall. Fallen angels masquerading as quote-unquote aliens. Project Blue Star's blackout ending. Project Anchor's gravity lie collapsing. The Antarctic Treaty is as the ultimate no-go zone. Spiritual warfare straight out of the Book of Enoch and Thessalonians. And yes, the dead and missing scientists who knew too much. So strap in, guys. This is going to be a good one. Grab your coffee. If you're drinking a whiskey, a beer, your tinfoil hat, your Bible. I'm drinking water right now because, like I said, I got to do a couple of shows. I can't get drunk yet. 3 commercial breaks to keep the lights on. And 0 apologies for going full conspiracy because the government's own actions prove they're terrified you'll connect the dots. Of course, they're obviously listening to the show. We are. Number 4 conspiracy theorist podcast in the world. Actually, in the U.S., but I'll take it. It's close enough. Now you think, Don, that's number 4. You're not number 1. Fuck that shit. Number 4 is pretty damn good. For just a dude with a full-time job and a part-time podcast, I'll take it. Obviously, we're getting somewhere with the things that we're saying here. So let's get this started now. All right? So let's rewind so the new listeners know you're not late to the party. We've been hosting it for months, guys. Back in February, right after Trump's executive order on full UAP declassification, I dropped the bombshell on Project Anchor, the 2026 gravity apocalypse. I told you gravity isn't some natural law. It's the psyop that keeps civilians from sailing to the ice wall. That explains away every physics-defying orb in craft. And that's scheduled to glitch or get exposed in 2026. So the containment cracks. Viral hoax? Sure, the normies call it that, but look at the UAP files dropping this week. Objects ignoring gravity like it's optional. I called it. Then, May 1st, the frozen firewall apocalypse, I mapped the entire operation. The ice wall isn't flat earth fanfic. It's the physical containment perimeter hiding entire extra continents, lost civilizations, and intra-terrestrial bases. Project Blue Star, the decades-long blackout keeping the Watchers hidden, beings operating from inside the Earth, coming through the oceans and poles, treating humanity like a natural preserve. Vanishing Gatekeepers, right? We have the scientists, the engineers, the military brass, with UAP clearances dropping dead or disappearing since February. And now it all ties to the Antarctic Treaty, the no-go zones, and the coming 2026 reveal. Are what they're going to tell you is Antarctica. But you are not allowed to go any further than that. It's kind of like going to the Grand Canyon. You ever wonder why the Grand Canyon is so big, but you can only visit such a small part of it, and the rest of it is not authorized for public admission? Similar situation. So the flat Earth model with the walls as a firmament's edge, the hollow Earth with polar entrances, concentric disk realms, Nazi New Swabia bases still running, pyramids under the ice, subglacial rivers flowing uphill that radar shows but Google Earth blurs, UFOs popping out of the water like it's a damn highway. All of it points to the same thing. They built the wall narrative to keep us contained on the known disk while they loot the rest. Now, see? I did say that. That was me, May 1st, on the show. We're ahead of the curve here, guys. Now the curve is catching up to us, and the government knows it. So fast forward to, Friday, May 8th, war.gov/UFO goes live with the first tranche, 162 files, photos, videos, FBI docs, DoD reports, NASA sightings going back decades, orbs over the Persian Gulf, craft vanishing into the ocean, transmedium madness that laughs at our physics. Trump on Truth Social says, "What the hell is going on? The people can decide for themselves." Kash Patel, the FBI director himself, tweets, "Maximum transparency under President Trump, a level no prior administration has ever delivered. He confirms the Bureau handed over its vaults. Rolling releases every few weeks. Sounds great, right? Sounds fan-fucking-tastic. God bless it. Motherfucker.
The idea that there would be life on other planets that may be visited here would not at all shock or surprise me. Have you ever looked into it?
We're looking at it.
Cash
Here's the
Patel,
thing.
Again,
I want all the details.
Here's the thing. Every other president before President Trump could have said, hey, let's look at that and get the American people the information. What did he do? He stood up an interagency process with Department of War leading that effort to get out the documentation related to everything that you're talking about, not just from the FBI, from the IC, and everywhere else. And so what do? We already delivered our first tranche of information to that committee, and they're going to be publicly releasing this information very soon. We are all for it. There's nothing in this subject that we're talking about that we don't want released. Our job at the FBI is to work with the White House and DOW, give them the information, and then they're going to put that out in a methodical process. And you're going to start seeing those releases literally happening in the very near future. We just met on it.
Now, really? Let me go back. So, here's the conspiracy angle we're not letting slide. Now, that was Cash Patel on Sean Hannity's podcast called, what's it called? The Hangout, I think, with Sean Hannity. This is where it gets funny. Here's the conspiracy angle we're not letting slide. This is classic limited hangout. Isn't it ironic that you have the director of the FBI pushing a narrative of a limited hangout on a show called Hangout? They release the boring historical stuff first to build trust. See, we're open, while the real crown jewels stay buried. No biologics, no reverse engineered intra-tech, no mentions of the ice wall patrols or the realms beyond. Just enough to make you think it's maybe E.T., maybe advanced human. Everything that they put out in this first drop was nothing that we haven't actually seen before, to be perfectly honest for you. It's everything that we've seen before, but we've been told was a conspiracy theory. It was fake. And I don't know if you guys went through this, but I went through some of it, and some of it actually looks fake as hell. And then you read the description. This is a rendering of what eyewitnesses saw. This is a rendering. This is a video bubble. It's animation. It's this. It's that. It's like, it pisses me off that they just won't tell us the fucking truth. Because the truth isn't what we think it is or what they want us to think it is. So why now? Well, because Blue Star's blackout is ending. The Intra-Terrestrials are done hiding. The files are the soft rollout while they clean house. Just because they haven't confirmed non-human intelligence doesn't mean they're not hiding it. They're drip feeding so the pastors can prep the flock and the public doesn't riot. This is from the Department of War, the UFO files. This is a disclosure. So the United States government released its first batch, newly public UFO UAP files. This release is significant because it reinforces a core point. There is a real public interest issue here. UAPs have been documented across government agencies across decades across the world and continue to be reported today. The files show that UAP are not simply a matter of speculation or public curiosity. The government has collected records, received reports, conducted analysis, preserved files, and in many cases, withheld portions of those records from public view. That matters. If records exist, data exists. If reports were created, then observations were taken seriously enough to document. If analysis was conducted, then the public deserves to understand what was reviewed, what was learned, and what remains unresolved. So the release at a glance, you had 162 total records, 82 records from the Department of War, 56 from the FBI, 12 from NASA, 8 from the State Department, 28 video records involving unresolved UAP reports, 14 image records, including recent still images from government or military systems, more than 100 records marketed as redacted. So the key takeaways, there is a there. The release confirms that UAPs have generated some government records, reports, and analysis over many years. This issue has a long history. The files include records dating back to the 1940s and show that government interest in UAP is not new. UAP have been reported in connection with sensitive military activity. Some modern reports involve military personnel, government systems, or restricted environments. The reports are global. The records include incidents and diplomatic materials from many regions around the world. Reports continue today. The release includes material tied to incidents from recent years, including 23, 25, and 26. The release appears to fall into two broad categories: historical records and modern reports. The historical records, the government has been tracking this issue for decades. The historical materials include FBI cases, NASA records from Gemini, Apollo, and Skylab eras, State Department cables, and Cold War era military documents. These records matter because they show that UAP reports have been documented across multiple agencies, across many decades, and in many parts of the world. Modern reports go. UAP reports continue today. The modern records include military reports, FBI interview materials, videos, and still images connected to recent UAP incidences. Several involve U.S. government or military systems and reports submitted through formal channels. The video records include reports from locations including the Middle East, Syria, Iraq, Arabian Gulf, Greece, Djibouti, Japan, and East China Sea, Indo-Pacific Command, North America, and Southern United States. Why does this matter? Well, UAP transparency belongs to the national conversation. For years, the public has been told that UAP are either too fringe to discuss or too sensitive to examine openly. This release points in different directions. The issue has been serious enough for government agencies to collect records, receive reports, analyze incidents, and preserve materials across generations. The next step is not speculation, it is reasonable public process. That means continued releases, clear explanations for redactions, stronger whistleblower protection, serious scientific review, and sustained congressional oversight. What will we be watching next? As future releases continue, several questions matter. Will the government release more complete case files? Will the public receive clearer explanations for why some records remain redacted? Will Congress receive the videos and records it's already been requesting? Will independent experts have enough information to evaluate cases responsibly? So, they want you calm, but we're not. And before we get to this commercial break, I just thought of something while I was reading all that. You notice how a lot of times these accounts are over military installations or places where there is conflict going on around the world. Then these things disappear into they head to the ocean, whichever ocean, and disappear into the water. If what I told you about the Antarctic Treaty is true, and that this was a signed treaty with all the nations of the world, who did we sign a treaty with? Or what did we sign a treaty with? Did we sign it amongst each other? Or were we all signing a treaty with someone or thing else? Then, if in that treaty we were told or warned against certain military anomalies, nuclear weapons, hydrogen weapons, weapons of mass destruction, let's just call it like that. Could this be these individuals, these intra-terrestrial beings, checking up on different military installations, not just in America, but around the world? China, Russia. Could this be them checking to see if the human race, not the Americans, not the Chinese, not the Russians, just all of us, are breaking any part of that? And if we have, because I don't know what the treaty says, you don't know none of us know what the treaty says. We know it's there. We know it's been signed. We know this document exists. We just don't know what it says. But if, capital I, capital F, that is part of the treaty, could this be what that is? Quick break, guys. We got to pay some bills around here, so we can keep dropping the truth nukes. Whoops, I said nukes. Maybe I'll have a spaceship over my house tonight. I don't know. We'll see. Guys, in this crazy world of government lies and disappearing scientists, you need to stay sharp and alert. That's why I'm powered by Alp nicotine pouches, guys. Clean, smoke-free, nicotine freedom that keeps me grinding these marathon episodes without lung damage or the nanny state taxes. No vapor, no smell, no, just pure focus. It actually does smell. It smells fucking good. I have Mountain Wintergreen 12s because I'm not a pussy. I'm telling you, the taste and the scent is fucking awesome. So it does have a smell, but it's not a bad smell. Guys, go to outpouch.com/DTOM. You'll get 20% off your first purchase. Stock up, stay sovereign, and never let the deep state slow you down. Alp, freedom in every pouch. Back to the thaw here in just a second. Water's good. I'll tell you about my day real quick. Got up about 3:30. I thought you were off today. Yeah, I know. I slept in 3:30. I'm gonna lay some sod. Have you ever done that? God dog, I only did like 25. But that's not the hard part. Putting the sod down isn't the hard part. It's prepping the soil for the sod. That's a bitch. Anyway. Now, the real spice, guys. Are you ready? While the files drop, evangelist Perry Stone drops a bomb. Pastors, big reach ones, got pulled into a meeting where men in the United States government warned them to prepare their people for revelations that could shake their faith to the core. Reptilian beings, non-human craft, materials that sound like sci-fi, stuff you might make folks ditch Genesis. Stone set it straight. You need to prepare your people.
Next few moments of something that came to my attention very, very recently. I had a friend that sent me a text message. I was in a meeting, a weekend meeting, preaching Friday, Saturday, and Sunday morning. And he said, Perry, can you give me a call? I have some information that has come to my attention. Of course, when a friend of yours does that you know quite well, you have no idea what information they're talking about. And I'm not going to go into great detail, but there were a large number of pastors that had been invited to go to a certain state to hear some men in the United States government and others share with them a concern that they had. And this particular man, and I'll not name him, and then we may end up doing some teachings with him or having an event at his church. He has a great church. But he said, Perry, what they're about to release, from what we're hearing, there's going to be a release concerning aliens and concerning unidentified flying object spacecraft, that some of the people who were in the meeting were telling us as pastors, you need to prepare your people and you need to get ready to answer them for what you're about to hear being released. And some of it has to do with crafts that have been discovered that are not allegedly a part of our planet, and the materials they're made of are not a part of our planet. Very strange reptilian-looking creatures, and other things that almost sound like something out of a sci-fi movie or an Orson Welles book. And so here's what he was sharing with me. We discussed a little bit. What are these things that are appearing? Steven Spielberg is about to do a movie, and he's basing it on some of what I've been told, the information that he's come across, that he's had research presented to him. So it's like a sci-fi movie, but it's not a sci-fi movie. Now, I want to say this. I want you to listen to me very carefully what I'm going to say. What I'm going to say is going to be a little bit controversial, but my son wants him and I. Now, my son's way out there. I'm letting you know up front. He's got some theories, and it's like, Jonathan, where did you come up with that? And he's a researcher. He's wide open on a lot of things that most people would not even be aware of, or some people wouldn't be interested in, but others are definitely interested in. Okay, first of all, we read this in the Bible. By faith, we understand that the worlds were created and framed by the Word of God. Now, the worlds there would be the planets, the earth. And remember this, that in the second heaven, first heaven is, when you have the earth, you have the first heaven, which is the clouds in the atmosphere, 60 miles up. But when you get past that into the darkness of the heaven, into the cosmos, let's say it that way, you have the sun, moon, and stars, you have the nebulas, you have the constellations, you have the galaxies, you have the Milky Way. I mean, the Milky Way is not just, we're just a pinpoint of what stretches out there. And they say that creation continues to expand. Well, that's because when God said, let there be light, it continues to create. I have no problem with the expanding universe theory because God never took back his word. God said, let there be, and boom, it continues to create. So that's another subject in itself. But there are stories out there, and some of them I'm not going to tell because I don't want to get caught up with people taking what I say and trying to edit it and clip it and make it say things I didn't. This is the kind of stuff I would teach at one of my conferences more than I would on a YouTube channel, or definitely more than I would on social media, because people read into what you say, they add to what you say, they take away from what you say, they make you say things you didn't say, then they create some kind of AI that definitely was not you. But here's what I want to tell you. According to the men who were present, who have the information, they said to these pastors, you're going to have two responses more than likely when all this information is eventually released. Now, I don't know what the total information is. I know a little bit about what it's about, but apparently whatever this is very serious. And number one, you're going to have people who are going to say, if there are galaxies and there are allegedly other creations in the galaxies, then the whole creation story is a myth. And you're going to have people that's going to apostatize and turn from the Christian faith because they have no answer for what they're about to hear. Then they said the opposite will be. There will be a group of people who are not followers of Christ, are not followers of the Bible, and they're going to freak out, and they're going to come to pastors, ministers, and teachers and say, what is this? Is this really real? Now, my son thinks that a lot of this is going to be government fabrications to eventually, over time, explain away disappearances. Now, this is not a movie. There's like 11 scientists that all have one thing in common. I'll let you research this, that have disappeared. They've just disappeared. What's happened to them? Have they all decided to go in hiding? Have they all decided to go into some underground government bunker? Nobody knows what's happened to them. They've just up and disappeared. You see this right here? This picture of this guy going up into the spacecraft, a UFO. There are people who believe. I have some friends. I'm at the International Prophetic Summit. And when we talk in private, I wish you could hear the green room conversations. No, I don't. Because if you heard the green room conversations, people would just go bonkers because everybody wants to give their opinion now. Nobody just listens and soaks information in and says, I don't know about that, maybe so, whatever. They just immediately want to give their opinion. So that's why we keep some things privately behind closed doors or at a conference. more than we do share it on the YouTube. You know, some people, everything they think they know, they go on a YouTube channel and want to tell it just to get views. I'm not that way, but I did feel like this was very important. My son believes, and I'm beginning to tend to believe as well, that this information is being presented so that at the return of the Lord, when there is a great disappearance, and if you talk about the rapture, go to 1 Thessalonians 4, 16 through 17. Well, it doesn't say rapture there. Yes, it says caught up to meet the Lord in the air, harpazo. Call it the harpazo. Call it the catching away. I mean, everybody gets so caught up on a theological word in the English language that describes an event. You know, Trinity is not in the Bible, but you use it. Millennial reign is not in the Bible. 1,000-year reign is. That's a millennium. But the word millennium is not in the Bible, but we use it. There's 15 theological words that we use in the Christian faith that describe an event, an occurrence in the Scripture. But you got people, you know, please forgive me for saying this, but it's true. You got people trying to preach prophecy right now that have no pastor, no church, and no background in the preaching at all. All they do is go out there and collect everybody's material, and they want to make a YouTube video on it. They have no background. I have been preaching prophecy for 50 years. I've written 100 books. Half of those are prophetic books. I remember back when everybody said the Antichrist is a Jew from the tribe of Dan. I said, no, it's not. It's the 12th Imam called the Mahdi of Islam. I preached that in 1991. I talked about the ashes of the red heifer in 1984. Now everybody's talking about this stuff. I thank God they are. Now people don't think Perry Stone's a lunatic and a nut. Hallelujah. Because now everybody's preaching the things that we've been preaching for 30 and 40 years. Now if you...
So I'm going to stop there because he just rambles on. But my point here of playing that was this. That video was 2 weeks ago. Okay, since then, up until Friday, that he was, a lot of what he said was dismissed, saying that there wasn't anyone from the government there. So organizers later called it a Christian-led Airbnb discussion with open source data and no official feds. It doesn't matter. The rumor exploded because it rings true. Representative Anna Paulina Luna is into Enoch also. J.D. Vance floated demons, not aliens. This is spiritual warfare prep. Now, I want to back up to what he was talking about. So, like I said, that was 2 weeks ago. After he did that video, shortly after, it came out that it was just pastors at a retreat, essentially, discussing the what-ifs. But if you listen to what he just said there, he was pretty damn close to everything that came out. Well, not everything, but a lot of what he said came out on Friday. Which leads me to believe that this was just the first drop. There is more, supposedly there's more to come with this. Will we keep getting these small rollouts up till the August 12th date that I have told you about with the gravity situation? Project Anchor. He still is persistent, and a lot of these people outside of the government and inside the government are persistent that these are extra-terrestrial. Now, Anna Paulina Luna, she's focused on the Book of Enoch. And J.D. Vance talking about demons, not aliens. They're focused on the intra-terrestrial. Now, we talked about this on a couple of shows. Extra-terrestrials, as we are commonly referred to them, means they're from outer space. Okay? But the pastor should be well aware of what he's saying and say that if you believe in the Bible, then you believe that there is a firmament covering what we call earth, which means that things from outside of this world would not be able to enter this world or leave this world, i.e. space travel. Now, it's not to say that there's a glass dome. I believe that governments around this world try to convince the public of whatever country that we can go into space and we can go to Mars and we can go to all these places. I personally believe that that's not fathomable. Maybe I'm crazy. Is the moon inside or outside the firmament? I don't know. I'll say this. They contradict everything they ever say about space travel. That's not to say that the firmament ends where the clouds begin, but it could be in outer space. It could be 1,000 miles up. So, technically speaking, you would have satellites, you could have a space station, you could have these things that appear to be in outer space. Doesn't mean they're in outer space. Because one thing I've always wondered was, you send satellites up, right? You send space stations up, you send whatever in the air. How do they stay there? Now, we're told gravity holds them in place. Well, why doesn't gravity pull them back to the Earth? They just float. But they don't float away, and they don't float back. They just float. Or are they riding the firmament, so to speak? There's a lot of people within our government that believe that the things we're seeing are from this world. Not from Russia, not from China, not from North Korea, but of this world, which would have to explain where are they coming from. Well, they're coming from the ocean. Well, we haven't explored. I think the number's like 70% of the ocean is unexplored. It's so vast. Okay. But what if there's an exit ramp out through the ice wall, under the water, into the air? Something to think about. And what if these crafts, when you think of people and you hear stories of people being, pulled up to crafts. Oh, I was brought aboard a ship, and and you think, oh, this person's fucking crazy. But what if these are fallen angels? What if these are situations where it's not what we are led to believe through movies and hyperbole, but it is what it is? The conspiracy is these unbiblical shocks aren't space brothers. They're the inter-terrestrials or fallen watchers from the book of Enoch. The same entities the Bible already warned you about. The strong delusion of 2 Thessalonians is here. The government knows disclosure could cause mass apostases or cults, so they loop in the pulpits to spin it as demonic deception before TikTok does. Lack of official confirmation, well, that's the cover, hiding the interdimensional angle so the elite can control the narrative. So in other words, did they bring these pastors? Now, these aren't your local pastors from your church down the street. These are evangelicals. These are people that have TV churches and YouTube churches, and they have a massive following. Not to say that they don't believe in God and they're not trying to be of God, but these are pastors that are in it. I mean, I hate to say it, but they're in it for the money. This isn't your local church that has 20 or 30 people in the church and they're struggling to stay afloat. These are these guys that run mega churches. And if I feel that you see a video like this, and I don't know who other people were there, but if you think of it was large church member or, pastors, I think of like a Joel Osteen or people like that have congregations of, hundreds of thousands of people, whether it's in-house and online, that constantly give these guys money. If this breaks out, and it is what we're thinking it is, at least on this show, are they worried that now everything they've been preaching wasn't necessarily true? Or that now that these guys are on here saying extraterrestrials, spacemen, and all this stuff, they're part of it. They're not telling you the truth. They're part of it because they want to keep you coming back to church. They want to keep you giving them money. So this is from the Daily Mail. On as of May 2026, evangelist Perry Stowe has claimed the U.S. intelligence officials have held secret briefings with prominent Christian pastors to prepare them for imminent official government disclosures regarding UFOs, non-human intelligence, according to reports, including coverage cited in Daily Mail. These disclosures could potentially challenge traditional Bible interpretations of creation. Perry Stone, along with other religious leaders, alleges they were invited to meetings with government officials to be briefed on pending releases. Like I said, this was prior to this stuff actually being released. The nature of the disclosure, the officials allegedly warned upcoming reports and videos will show spacecraft and entities do not originate from Earth. Reptilian beings, Stone indicated that briefings mention non-human craft and reptilian entities. The Great Deception. Stone and other pastors have described these upcoming disclosures as potential great deception or spiritual crisis that could lead many Christians to abandon their faith. Faith-shaking information. Stone stated that if information is released suggesting these beings created humans, it could cause some believers to view the biblical creation story as a myth. So, are we preparing the churches, or are we using the churches to continue the story? And that's where you have to believe that if you believe in God, you believe in Jesus Christ, if you're a Christian, okay? And I said this the other day. It doesn't matter if you're a Christian or a Muslim or you follow Judaism or Buddhist. Every single religion out there believes in God, okay? The difference between those religions, they believe that their God is different from your God. But the stories are all basically the same. And where Judaism comes into play versus Christianity, the religions are very similar in the sense of God created the earth, the heavens, the earth, and all that. The difference is with Christianity, we believe that Jesus Christ was God's son, sent to earth to help mankind, and he died for our sins, right? Jews don't believe that. They don't believe in Jesus Christ. They don't believe that Jesus Christ didn't exist. They don't believe the story that we know of Jesus Christ. Okay, whatever. My point is each religion believes in God. Okay? These entities, okay, the book of Enoch was banished from the Bible thousands of years ago. We didn't even know about the book of Enoch until relative recent history when it was found in Ethiopia. In the book of Enoch, it goes on to talk about these situations. And you have to wonder if that's why it was taken out of the Bible and who took it out of the Bible. I don't know. Just asking a question. But it was probably Netanyahu. No, I'm joking. But you understand where I'm going with this. Even thousands of years ago, we've been editing the things we read or the things we're allowed to read for whatever reason. We've been saying this since the Frozen Firewall showed the Bible doesn't map the ice wall realms or the zoo keepers inside the earth. That's why pastors are on standby. So, let's talk about the Vanishing Gatekeepers, the 2026 cleanup crew in overdrive. So, let's tie it to the dead and missing. Since Trump's February directive, at least 10 to 12 scientists, engineers, and brass with UAP propulsion, nuclear, or aerospace ties have vanished or died. Major General William Neil McCaskill, ex-Wright Patterson commander, UFO lore connections, walks out of his New Mexico home with a revolver, leaves phone, glasses, everything. No foul play. Bull. And I feel like the revolver part was put in there to make it look like he was going to commit suicide. But they never found him. Never found a body. NASA and JPL folks, that's a propulsion lab, folks, Los Alamos types, anti-gravity researchers, hiking accidents, suicides, straight up gone. Luis Elizondo says the list is bigger and the UAP ties are interesting common links, and the FBI and Congress are probing. Where's it at? Here it is. Play.
The president was briefed extensively yesterday, and he's worried
over.
about.
Hopefully, I don't know, coincidence, if you whatever you want to call it, but some of them were very important people, and we're going to look at it over the next short period.
So take a look. The White House now probing the disappearances of the people behind me, the deaths of 10 scientists at least. Let's break down some of the cases. For example, let's look at Michael David Hicks. He dies at the age of
This is from February.
59 years old. And David Michael Hicks, a longtime JPL scientist involved in asteroid and comet research, no public cause of death given. And then you have a situation like Monica Reza. Monica Reza vanished while hiking under weird circumstances. And then you have William Neal McCaslin. This guy disappeared in February. Deep ties to the Air Force research programs. So everyone has a bit of a mystery to their passing. And people are wondering, with the very similar backgrounds, extremely bright people, extremely successful people, extremely valuable people, is this all related? As you heard, the president can't say yes or no publicly yet, but the mystery remains. Let's bring in House Oversight Committee member, Missouri Congressman Eric Burleson, who is calling for the FBI to get involved. Congressman, when did you first find out about this?
My office found out about it last year. We sent a letter to the FBI about a gentleman named Matthew Sullivan, who actually we had reached out to. He was scheduled to come in for an interview. Within 2 weeks, he had suspiciously committed suicide. That report was referred to the Office of Inspector General. They deemed it credible and urgent. They then referred it to the FBI. So this is not the first that we've heard of this. That was the first that we became aware of.
The president was briefed extensively yesterday, and he's worried about it. You know, we hear about all this. We also know we're in a big-time race with China for all this, too. And then people wonder about the undisclosed UFO program that more and more people are pushing to get answers on. Is there a relation to any of that from which you could share with us?
There certainly is. So General McCaslin, for example, is someone that we had reached out to twice to try to get some answers from. He is someone who has a critical role in working for the Air Force, particularly when it came to research. He was the one that oversaw a lot of this advanced research. He was someone that was very difficult to get a hold of, but we reached out to him twice, and then he just mysteriously disappeared.
You know what's wondering? If one person disappears, we see press conferences, and we see people and mysterious deaths. We would see family members. Why haven't we heard more from family members and associates about their concern?
Yeah, I don't know, Brian. I wish we would. But look, what's really disturbing when you look back and you reflect on it, you've got Monica Reza, you've got Anthony Chavez, you've got Melissa Cassius, and you have Stephen Garcia, all of which, along with General McCaslin, walked out of their homes, or in the case of Mrs. Reza, she disappeared on a hike without their phones. They just literally disappeared, left all of their devices at home. This is not normal. These are some of the most advanced scientists, researchers in our nation, some of the most important people for our nation's national security efforts, and they all just mysteriously disappeared.
So, I mean, this does have all the hallmarks of some type of international or foreign effort, because we're in competition on nuclear. We're in competition on advanced weaponry. We're in competition on getting to the moon. And who you are in competition with? China, Russia, Iran. So that brings, if there's anything worthy of a all-hands-on-deck investigation, this seems to be it.
This is a rattling call to pay attention to this issue and make sure that our nation's top scientists are safe and secure. This is too coincidental, and so we have to be investigating this. We need to have our nation's top investigators, the FBI, and every agency looking into this matter.
8 have been found missing or dead since 2025. So this is only going to grow. In fact, I know one of the scientists that came out and said they thought that they were being threatened and stalked.
Yeah, we've heard that from multiple cases where they've all felt some form of threat.
And lastly, is this something Democrats and Republicans can get behind together?
Absolutely, Brian. My office is leading a joint effort with Democrats. This is a bipartisan issue. We're leading a letter to the FBI to make sure that they address this issue and properly investigate this.
Yeah, I would love to see press conferences with some of their colleagues who probably share your concern. Congressman, thanks so much. Appreciate it.
So that was, I think it was March 1st, 2nd, somewhere around there, end of February, when that came out. And I believe we talked about that. And I say it like that, being smart. I know we talked about it. In my May 1st episode, I called this the Gatekeeper Purge. These were insiders who knew about Blue Star, the real Antarctic ops, the inter-terrestrial craft coming from inside. They can't have them live tweeting the truth while Patel floods the zone with tame files, foreign actors, black budget network, or intra-terrestrials themselves cleaning house. Doesn't matter. The patterns scream 2026 cleanup before the full breach. Just because no evidence of foul play doesn't mean the government isn't hiding the hits. Now, also in that show, we talked about these missing scientists and stuff, and I might have played that clip, I'm not sure, but I did talk about how the media, the mainstream media, Fox, CNN, whoever, are saying the same things, and they want to make sure to let the public know that this could also be Russia or China or whoever, when in actuality it's probably our own government. If you paid attention to what the congressman there says, and we call this person in to testify in front of Congress, and a day later they disappear. And we had contact with General McCaskill, and we wanted to have him in front of Congress and have a conversation with him. And then he just walks out of his house and disappears. Who are they disappearing? Why are they disappearing? If you're one of these individuals and you have nothing to hide essentially, then what does it matter if you testify in front of Congress? Unless there are certain people within the United States government that don't want you saying the things you know. It's one thing if you're just there, and I work in JPL and I worked on a nuclear propulsion situation, blah, blah, blah. It's different when you're talking about, because the one scientist who was working on the nuclear propulsion situation, the idea behind that was a solar nuclear propulsion system that would help us reach Mars and other planets. We would need the nuclear blast to fuel the solar and get the ship out there. If that's all it was, then what's the big deal? But if it was more of an anti-gravity craft, if they were reverse engineering these alien crafts, well, then maybe there's something there. But what if it was, like I said the other day, it has nothing to do with extraterrestrial, that these are intra-terrestrial situations? Project Blue Star was the op. Decades of black budget silence on beings operating from inside the Earth. Bases under oceans, in the poles, hidden realms. The new files? Craft emerging from water, vanishing into ground. Not E.T. from Zeta, they're the watchers behind the firewall. The May 8th drop is the blackout lifting. Sanitize so you don't panic. This is a highlighted article on transmedium incidents where objects move seemingly between space, air, and water. These documents Part of the directive to release UAP records include reports of objects exhibiting impossible acceleration with no visible propulsion. Key cases involve Navy personnel UAP Space Tiger team investigations into these multi-domain capabilities. So, we've been on this. We, here at Don't Tread on America, and you guys listening, have been hearing about this. So let's take a break real quick. We're going to do a mid-episode fuel stop. Protect yourself while digging deep, guys. Big Tech and the Deep State are watching every search on UFO files, ice walls, and missing scientists. That's why I use NordVPN. Military-grade encryption, no logs policy, servers everywhere so you can search or research without the NSA knocking. Or they're here now. No. DTOM listeners get massive discounts with code DTOM at NordVPN.com. Stay anonymous, stay free, NordVPN, because truth shouldn't get you on a list. We'll be back just a second. Hang tight. All right, guys. So the ice wall isn't the edge of a flat disk. It's the barrier hiding extra continents, lost civilizations, and intra-terrestrial outposts. The Antarctic Treaty keeps civilians out. Operation High Jump, Bird's Diary, Pyramids Under Ice, all pointed to realms beyond. The files show polar activity for a reason. Containment breach is here. Gravity holds the globe lie together. Anchor was the 2026 glitch psyop to explain the upcoming physics reveal. UAP files prove craft ignore it. The thaw is exposing the entire illusion. We're going to get this last commercial break, guys. Get the best sleep while the world wakes up. After we've been going a little over an hour now, you'll need the rest. You're going to need to be able to sleep, guys. My Pillow, the most comfortable American-made pillows and bedding on the planet. Use code DTOM for huge savings at mypillow.com. Sleep like a patriot who knows the truth. MyPillow, because even truth warriors need good rest, guys. Here we go into the final stretch. Hang tight. Ugh. All right, let's put it all together. UFO drop equals limited blue star N. Pastors equal the spiritual spin control. Gatekeepers vanishing equals cleanup. Ice wall plus anchor equals the failing containment. Inter-terrestrials equal the real aliens, or watchers, maybe demons. This is Project Bluebeam meets Ed Time's deception. Trump and Patel could be white hats delivering truth or controlled opposition. Either way, the firewall is thawing. Don't trust the narrative. Research war.gov UFO yourself, guys. Please, I encourage you to dive into these and watch some of these crazy ass videos yourself. You'll kind of see what I'm seeing and you'll think this is fucking crazy. All right, guys. Well, we did it. We made it through another episode. Guys, a little over an hour of pure conspiracy truth. Please make sure you share this episode. Go to the DTOM Store. Check it out. Like I said, proceeds go to Tunnels to Towers. I don't take any profit. I just want you to guys get the shirts, get the stuff out. People ask you where you got it. Tell them. Don't Tread on America, guys. Please make sure you follow the show on social media. Don't Tread on America on Facebook, Instagram, True Social, and the Checker Talker. Make sure you follow the show on Rumble. Don't Tread on America TV. And don't forget, we're always on Twitter. DTOM Podcast 1776. You guys can reach me at all of those situations. You can go to the website, DontTreadonMerica.com, and you can email me, DonQ at DontTreadonMerica.com with your theories. Theories, guys. Or are they truth stories? Make sure whatever podcast app you're listening to this on, you share this episode with your friends. You give me a rating. If you're on Apple or Spotify, hit that rating. Give me a 5-star. Hook a brother up. If you want to leave a review, please do so. Guys, I'm going to end this show, and I'm going to take a quick break myself. And I'm going to record another one, because I got a little bit before I need to go to bed. You're welcome. That show will be up Thursday. This show will be up in about 20 minutes. You guys have a great rest of your Monday. Have a great week. And I'll talk to you again on Thursday because that's when the next show will be released. Other than that, you guys have a great day. Peace.